What's going on, y'all? It's JD Piquel. Today on the Hard Count, Caleb Williams has entered a name into the transfer portal. Where will he go next? Welcome into CFB with JD, the People's Channel for every single thing that you know, that you love about college football. It exists on this channel. It exists nearly every single day, so I would encourage you to subscribe to stay up with everything that we're doing here. Caleb Williams, the son of Norman, has entered his name into the transfer portal. And if you don't know, Caleb Williams obviously took the college football world by storm a season ago, taking over the Oklahoma Sooners offense when Spencer Rattler kind of sputtered out against Texas in the Red River rivalry. All he did was pop off, bring them back to a victory in that game, and then proceeded to have ridiculous numbers the rest of the season. I mean, his measurables are off the charts. He's a five-star coming out of high school. And now, with Lincoln Riley leaving to USC, he is into the transfer portal and is in a lot. I mean, let's call it what it is. He's a free agent. He's a college football free agent, and that's the world we're living in right now. He released a statement on Twitter, which I think is kind of interesting. There's a lot of things that he put in that. Here's what I found to be most revealing. He said, according to NCAA rules, as a student athlete, the only way I can speak with other schools and see who may offer the best preparation and development for my future career is by entering the portal. Staying at Oklahoma will be an option as I begin this process. We're going to unpack that a little bit more. Interesting, he noted, hey, this is for my future career. It's not about Oklahoma. It's not about, the campus. It's not about anything to do with the school. It's about his future career. And so where he looks to transfer next will be about exactly that. He's not trying to find NIL money. He's not trying to find somewhere that he can go and rack up awards. That probably helps. He is all about his development and the process to make him a first-round draft pick when the time comes. So where are some potential landing spots? Where might be the things that are going to fit his requirements for his next destination? Well, we did a video on it when Lincoln Riley left for USC. With the one-time transfer rule, we thought right away, Caleb Williams, if he goes to USC, who can blame him? Because USC, and that's the first one we're going to talk about, should be the far and away favorite. Like, strictly because of Lincoln Riley, it should be the far and away favorite to land him in this process. Like, there's going to be a lot of names thrown around. There's going to be a lot of different coaches and schools thrown around. USC is the odds-on favorite, and that's not up for debate. Why? Because when he was coming out of high school, Oklahoma didn't have a scholarship for him. They had someone else committed by the name of Brock Vandagriff. He was committed to Oklahoma. He was their quarterback in that cycle. So they said, hey, we had one quarterback spot. We used it on Brock. Caleb Williams says, that's fine. I'll walk on. I want to be under Lincoln Riley so badly, I will walk on to your program, use that scholarship on someone else, and I'll win the job. It doesn't matter. Obviously, that wasn't the case. Brock Vandagriff decommits, commits to Georgia. Caleb Williams becomes the man at USC. So if you're telling me you're willing to walk on for a coach, you wouldn't transfer to a place like Los Angeles on scholarship to go play for him? Don't think so. In terms of what he wants for his future career, it's very obvious. I mean, Riley's last three quarterbacks, not counting Spencer Rattler, are all NFL starters. Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts. I mean, he's the QB whisperer. There's no way around it. He knows what to expect when he gets to USC. Trevor Knight had an interesting tweet and basically just said, I hope he returns back to OU, because Trevor Knight actually transferred from OU to A&M. Interesting he would say that. But he said, I hope he returns back to OU. It's not a walk in the park being a transfer quarterback and going to new programs. The grass isn't always greener. Well, I think there's a lot of truth to what he said. It's hard to imagine that it wouldn't be a little bit easier for someone like Caleb Williams if he went to USC and followed Lincoln Riley, because he's stepping into what essentially would be the same offense, the same system that he already knows from a season ago. So USC, far and away the number one choice. Another school that's mixed itself in here in the last 24 hours, according to Brandon Huffman of 24/7 Sports, UCLA. Huffman reported there's reciprocated interest between both Williams' family and UCLA. And this is a very peculiar school because they're not necessarily the school you would think about right away for being a destination for quarterbacks. But you look a little bit closer and you say, okay, Chip Kelly's offense, extremely quarterback friendly, caters to his skill set, going to allow him to capitalize on his dual threat abilities, going to allow him to throw the ball, get it out of his hands quickly, have phenomenal stats, really high completion percentage. He could take UCLA by storm. It would not surprise me one bit if he went to UCLA and made UCLA immediately a contender in the Pac-12. Also, I don't know how much this plays a factor, but if you look at pound for pound the best conferences, the Pac-12 is a little bit shy of what you would imagine somewhere like the Big 12 or the SEC or, the Big 10. the Pac-12 is probably, from a talent perspective alone, as a whole, I'm not talking about Utah, not talking about Oregon, as a whole, is lower on the totem pole. That's the way it is right now. So for Caleb Williams to come in there and be a quarterback in that conference, not only would he be the best quarterback in the conference, he would be able to tear up the majority of defenses he plays against with, I would say, relative ease. So something to keep an eye on. Obviously, if Dorian Thompson-Robinson returns in 2022, that becomes a little bit more of a conversation, but I think even if DTR does come back, it's Caleb Williams' job if he wants it. Now, this one is one that I think is going to be on all the hot lists, but Maryland. Caleb Williams is from the DMV area, which stands for Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, for those of you that aren't aware. Or, excuse me, D.C. I guess you can mix Delaware in there if you want to. But anyway, he's from Washington, D.C., right down the road from him. Mike Locksley's an offensive head coach. He coached Tua Tagovailoa when he was at Alabama as the OC. He's going to be able to develop Caleb Williams to get where he wants to go. Now, it may not be the competition he wants. It may not be the stage he wants, but it'd be close to home. It was in his top 3 out of high school, which I think is worth something, especially since he's transferring after his true freshman season. Just a year ago, this was in his top 3. And especially after your first year, most kids want to get back home. Like you talk about just the average college student, what amount of them, or excuse me, where do a lot of those kids go after they transfer, those that do transfer after their first year, I should say. A lot of them transfer back to familiar territory, back home, back near mom and dad, back near where their old best friends are. It's comfortable, it's familiar, and if he's got the head coach that's going to take him to where he wants to be, like you said, it's going to help him develop his career, more power to you. I say go ahead for it if you're Caleb Williams, because really, there's probably, let's see, Ohio State, Alabama. I can't think of another school that would turn him down outside of those 2. Those are probably the only 2 schools that really have the affordability to say no to him. Even then, maybe they take him just because. 2 more schools that I don't see him going to. Okay, so those are the 3 that I think are very, very much in the running that make a lot of sense. USC, UCLA, Maryland, in that order. These are the 2 that are getting some smoke. Well, one that's getting smoke, but one that he mentioned in his statement, we'll just jump into it. Georgia. For a lot of people, Georgia is kind of the favorite right now, which I guess makes sense. I mean, Todd Monken's the offensive coordinator there, has an NFL pedigree, which again is what Caleb Williams is after. He wants to be the best quarterback possible for when that time comes to go to the NFL. But Rusty Manziel of 24/7, who's very close to that program, he's not hearing any traction about it. And to me, this could be kind of a smokescreen like we see all the time with coaching carousels, and we see it with, honestly, the transfer portal too, with high-profile quarterbacks like Caleb Williams. You hear one school a lot, and then it's completely the other direction to another school. So Georgia, I could see it. It would make sense. It'd be a great get for Georgia, but the fact that someone like Rusty Manziel, who's as close to that program as he is, saying, nah, there's not much going on here. This is kind of just a lot of buzz and no real fire here. That tells me all I need to know. And finally, the fact that he said he wanted to, so we're going to talk about Oklahoma. So I say, finally, we're talking about Oklahoma. He said he wants to get into the portal to talk to other schools and see what his options are. More power to you. Great, do it. He also said, Oklahoma is definitely a possibility for me. There's definitely a chance I come back to Norman when this is all said and done. Well, a few hours later, Dylan Gabriel commits to Oklahoma. We're going to do a video on that here as well, so subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss that. Dylan Gabriel commits to Oklahoma to be with his old offensive coordinator, Jeff Lebby, and that to me just slams the door shut on the Caleb Williams return to Norman. And I know the AD and Brett Venables, that came out and did a statement, which was kind of weird in itself. It basically said, we still believe we're the best place for Caleb Williams to be. Maybe it's saving face. But if you're telling me that Caleb Williams is going to return back to a school that within hours of him announcing that he was leaving, replaced him, that makes no sense. You're telling me you're going to go back to a place that already did away with your spot? Why would you do that? I mean, I'm not going to say he can't go in there and still win the job if he wants it, but for it to be a quarterback that Jeff Lebby's familiar with, sounds like they already got their guy. Even more so, a lot of alumni took to Twitter from Oklahoma and said they were excited about, Dylan Gabriel, and basically, we're hyping up that get. The Caleb Williams era in Norman is finished. That is abundantly clear. It's even more clear now with Dylan Gabriel arriving to Norman, flipping from UCLA. So we wish nothing but the best for Caleb Williams. I'd like to think that this channel has, in a lot of ways, kind of adopted Caleb Williams. Our success has kind of paralleled his in the sense that when he started making plays against Texas. We started getting some more traction on this channel. So a lot of you probably found us via the Caleb Williams videos and subscribed to this channel via that. But we're excited for Caleb Williams. Wish him nothing but the best. Would be wildly surprised if he doesn't end up in South Central Los Angeles. That's it for us here at The Hard Count. We will keep the party rolling. We will see y'all next time.